Hello again, it's Peter from Record Power. On this little short video I'm going to take you through how to strip down and clean out the shafts for your WG250. You've got inside of here the one main shaft going through, drive being transferred for the motor from your torque adjuster here, which you need to slack off anyway. That's a little shaft that drives through there, so that just gives us pressure onto our inside wheel. So one shaft going through, drive's transferred from the shaft that rotates there to drive this range. Inside of there as well, two bushes, and what I want to do is work those out so I can clean them out and clean the shaft out, and this is a little video to take you through that. So first of all, what I might as well do as well, while you've got your actual tool shaft in, is just give that a bit of a clean up. Always keep this nice and smooth. A little bit wet and dry will do that. And just for a finer finish, just use one of these cloths over it as well. And just to draw the last bit of muck out of there, and again to help to transfer your jigs and everything across, I'll use a little bit of this wax on there. I like to clean it. I'd say draw some of the muck out of it. Just make the transition of your tools over there nice and smooth. If you've got the 250, you've got a tool tray in the back, just take that out for what we're doing. So you've got your straight jig in there. So that just makes it all nice and smooth. And what I would do with that as well is again give that a little clean at the same time. In this case just a little bit of WD-40 to wash it out. Doesn't need a lot. Your water tray can come off. That can come out the way. Put those out the way as well. And what I will do, just save the cable getting in all over the place, is just put a little cable tie around that, and then that can come off. So I've taken all the tension off the drive, so that should be a little bit easier. It'll still be a little bit of binding on there, but what I want to do now is take this off. Keep all your bits and pieces together, so I'll just drop them into a tray just to make it so it's easier to identify everything. So that's that kit for that. This comes off again. You've got your pinholes in there that transfers the drive onto there, so that's quite easy to go back on. You've got one main one and then the two little ones, so that matches up with a bigger hole, the main one on there. Get the right size spanner. In this case a 17mm. Again, I want to keep those separate. Now this should come off once that you've got to let all that pressure off there. It ease off, and I want to take this one off first rather than the stone, because it keeps it in place. So what I'm doing there is gently tapping that, and look, it starts to come off that drive. So you've got a drive pin through there, that locates in there. So this can only go on one way. You've got the clear ball there, and on the back you've got the ball with the pin, and the pin just sits in there. So when you put it back on, it's easy, and you've got the washer behind it. So again, keep those separate. So those two are in there. Lastly, take this one off. That should come out. So just support this as it's taking it off, because the wheel is heavy enough, it just needs a little bit of support coming off that shaft. Right, so you've got a washer behind there, and you've got a washer in the front and the nut on there, so keep those. And I've put them, all I've done here is just put a little bit of newspaper on the worktop. So it just keeps it all together. I know what's what. So this shaft, there's a captive shaft in there, and it's captive by way of the two bushes are underneath these wiper plates here. So those little bushes have got to come off. And you've got 4 little Phillips screws holding this little wiper plate on. So those can come off. Right, that's one off. What I want to do with those, just give those a little bit of a wipe out, get some of the muck out of them. There's a nice bit. Well, last bit again, just use a little bit of WD-40 or something similar, because all this will do is just wash away the muck that's on there and just keep it clean. And then on the reverse side you've got the same. It might be easier just to take this cover off as well. So you've got this little cover, splash cover here as well. Again, that's just held on by 4 larger screws, so you can't get the screws mixed up, they're different. These are much bigger screws than the little ones underneath. And I think it'll just make it a little bit easier to take this off to give us plenty of access into here. And then we can do the same on this one. 4 little screws again. The plates are sided as well, so if you don't, it doesn't matter if you get them mixed up. These little screws are the same either end, and like I say, the plates are the same as well, so don't worry about getting them mixed up. All you want to do is make sure, because they're quite small little things, is put them in a tray or something like that, just to keep them all together. And again, give this a little wipe out, especially on this side that's carrying the stone. You'll have a lot more dust going there, bits of grit and stuff. Just give that a wipe, and again a little spray, so it'll make it all nice and clean again. Right, it's a little bit difficult to see, but here, this slotted area here is actually a bush. So you can't take the shaft out through it because the shaft is stepped. So if you gently push it, this bush will come out. So we've got one either end, and they've got serrated raised area, keyway like areas on them. So that's where it goes back into the body. So when you reassemble it, you just want to rotate that and feel it back in there. No need to tap it, just give it a clean out and push it back in again. So one either end. Again, I can push that one out all the way now, and the shaft to come out. So So what those bushes do, they sit on there, and that's all they're doing. So all you've got to do is when you put it back together, just put it the right way around, but even if you get it the wrong way around, you can soon swap it over. So again, what I want to do with these is give them a quick clean out first. Get all the bits away from the actual location parts, these little raised part keys like things. Make sure those are nice and clean. It's nice and smooth inside. And it's just the nature of the beast with this machine, or any whetstone grinder really. We've done a little video on the 200 and it's slightly different configuration of way it's made. It's not made the same as this, but it's the same sort of principle. We want to keep it all nice and clean, especially if the machines haven't been used for quite a long time. They go really dry and it's all like graunchy from all the grit from the process what you're doing on the machine. So it just wants a nice little clean out. Again, I'll just give those a little spray to wash all the muck away. And really all I'm doing is just keeping it all nice and clean. So then I want to have a look at the shaft. So just give that a little clean out. Rub that up a little bit. So this side's not so bad. Again, a little bit of wet and dry or something like that, or even these can do it as well, these little scratch ones. If you're going to use some wet and dry, sort of a nice fine one, don't use anything coarse on there. What we can do as well is just put a bit of oil on the actual paper itself, and that will reduce any scuffing on there, just make it a little bit smoother. So this wants a little bit of standard sort of oil, your 3-in-1 oil, when you've got it, putting it all back together again. Get as much off as possible. And again, I'm just going to give that again a little bit of a spray. A bit messy, but it pay dividends for keeping all nice and clean for you. And a little bit of a wipe off. So that's done. Keep that out of the dirt. And so these bushes, I want to just give those a little clean out inside as well. And dry them off. Now inside of here, it should be pretty clean. So you've got the wipers on the outside, just check it. Give it a little wipe. So these, so just don't go all the way over, so they just sit on top of the shaft. That's all nice and smooth now. That's okay. So I want a little bit of oil on there. And a little bit on the other side. So this is the side for the polishing side, and that's the one again with the hole in. So that's just going to go through there. And when I put it in, if you rotate it, you should feel it like click in. That one's gone in. That one, just a little bit of help. It's like a screwdriver or something. Well, not much of a screwdriver, this is a little bit bent up and beaten up. There you go. So that one's gone in now. It's just underneath the surface, and so is this one. This one went in a little bit easier. In fact, it's easier to push out as well. So those are in situ now. And again, I can put a little bit of oil on those. You can do this on a regular basis just like this. In this service kit we actually provide the mineral oil for your basic honing wheel, and then there's some general purpose oil for the shafts. So if you don't want to go and strip it all down, what you can do is just move it like that. But occasionally these do want lubricating, and there's no other way of doing it. There's no sort of oil nipples or access into there. So it's a little bit of a strip down, not difficult to do, just keep things in order. Well, that feels nice and smooth now. So now I can look at putting it all back together again. So I've done the wiper plates, those are ready to go back on. Just get rid of some of that cleaning stuff. Most of this will evaporate off anyway. It'll draw away most of the muck that's on there as well. So one either end. 4 of these little screws. They are dinky little things, these are, so be careful with these. Only so as you don't lose them. They kind of disappear in my big fingers. Center themselves up over your shaft again. There you go. Sits on there. That kind of locates on there as well. So we're pinched up on there. Put these again, just give these a little bit of a flush off, just to drive away any bits of dust and muck we got around them. Stone might have quite a bit of dust and stuff on the back of it, so it doesn't hurt just to have this little wipe off. Before I put it back on. don't matter how many times I put left on nuts on, if always you try and do it the opposite way, the natural way, it's a sort of built-in thing. I think putting on with a. It'd be great if you just. I've just used a pair of grips to, but all I want to do basically, because it's going into the drive, is just pinch it up like that. It doesn't need any more really, because you're going into the rotation of the thread, so it locks it up. So we've got a couple of little bits to put back on here. There, I've got a washer onto the back. Give that again a little bit of a wipe out. And the pin that transfers the drive. So if I have that across, it won't drop out. And what you can do before you actually put that back on again is just check your shaft here. So this is the shaft that transfers your drive. Take it back out of shot a little bit. So here, this is the pin that transfers the drive to your actual put the rubber wheel here. So it's just running across the outside. So that just needs to be slightly not as shiny, so if I just rub that backwards and forwards on there and just clean it up and just scuff the face up a little bit. Just clean the face off. So slot in the back pin, and what I can do is marry those two back up together again. All I might have to fiddle about with is moving the shaft out the way so I can get it on, and making sure the pin is equal before I tap it over. Equal by means how much is sticking out the actual the shaft itself. If I have too much sticking out one way or the other, then this is not going to go back in properly. Just add back up onto there. And this is a standard thread onto there, so I can lock that up. And that's it. So all remains is to put this one back on. So you've got 3 little pins sticking out on this. And that just align up. Now one pin is larger in size than the other 2. So you've got a small one there, and this one's slightly larger, and it's also got a little hole in the centre. And all that does is to marry up with the larger hole on here that's gone through clear. So then it's just how your look is, if it goes on first time or not. It did. So I'll put my shaft back on. Pinch that up. Then the buffer. We'll put the other washer on first. And the shaft just protrudes outside of your buffing wheel a little bit, so just put that over there. And we're all back together again. I'll put the tray back in. So tilt that forward a little bit, the tray will go in, and I can put all my bits back inside. Dress it with a stone. I'll give the stone a little brush over as well before I stick it back in. a straight edge jig. I've just cleaned the bushes out on this, so that should be as smooth as anything now. That really is nice and smooth and it's all nice and cleaned out. So what I'll do is, this wheel needs now dressing, and I've taken it off. It needs dressing anyway, but it wouldn't hurt you if you're going to do this to make sure you do dress the wheel again. You're putting it back on, it might be slightly alters the location, because what we do need to do on these machines is make sure this tool arm is parallel to our wheel, and I know this one is miles off because it's been used in the centre, so I've got quite a gap underneath of there, so that needs to be brought down. I don't know if you can see it on there anyway, but I've got quite a nice little gap underneath there. I'll probably do a piece of paper if you have feeler gauges or something like that, so I can put the paper right under the centre and I'm catching on the edges, so I can't get it in there, so that's quite a hollow I've got there, so that needs dressing out again. So I'm going to dress the whole wheel anyway, and I'll follow up and do that, and also going to clean the buffing wheel up and dress that up as well. Well, I'll dress it up, I'll put some oil on it. But this one is quite smooth and shiny, so I'll just bring that up a little bit, and also we use the one for the gauges as well. So hopefully that's been some use to you, and I'll catch up with you soon on the next one. Cheers for now.